Hello there, it's me Sari, and today I'm here to show you a few new dies that I've got, and I also thought I'd talk to you about what you could do with dies, because the die cuts you get are pretty versatile, I must say, or the uses of the die cuts could be very versatile. So let's get started. I have fallen in love with a new die company called Crafty, and it started off with this beautiful cogwheel edge die. Marius from Prima Marketing was the first person to show this to me. It's called Border 15 Steampunk, and it is almost 20 centimeters long. That is sort of almost 8 inches, but not completely. And you could of course die cut just a bit of it, and still having a sort of a strip of a paper, you could have the cogs either on the bottom part or on the top part, or even at both ends if you would like to. Here I have die cut it out of a 300-gram watercoloring paper, which is rather tough. It's a wonderful paper to work with. I just can't get enough of it. And here I die cut it on both sides of the paper. Imagine this strip being wider, then you could have it on either side of a photo perhaps, or on either side of a card or something. You could do smashing things with this one, and why I like it so much is because it is rather small. I do have another one which is a little bit higher and larger, and that makes it a bit more difficult to work with cards, handmade cards that is. But with this one I could actually see myself using this for handmade cards or tags or whatever. I do like the way it die cut this. So Crafty and I just got that package of these dies yesterday, so I'm really happy about it. Now you also see that I have gotten 2 Ballerina girls. It's Ballerina and Ballerina 2. And they were rather small. I was hoping they would be sort of 4 inches or 10 centimeters, but they ended up being like this. But you know, I could always make use for these anyway, so I'm not disappointed in no way at all. And I just wanted to sort of emphasize how you can make these dies come to life when it comes to making, let's say, Project Life scrapbooking or pocket page scrapbooking. And if you just are going to cut yourself a piece of paper that measures 3 by 4 inches, and you just place the die in the center and die cut it, well, first of all, of course, you're going to end up with a die cut ballerina girl and a negative. If you aren't paying attention to just planning for your negative, well, you might end up with something else, and that could be all right as well. I'm not telling you this is wrong in any way, shape or form, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on the possibilities of working with your negatives. So let's say you die cut it once out of something like this, and the second time you're just going to use a scrap piece of paper and die cut a shape like this. This is die cut out of sort of a chipboard paper, not that as thick as chipboard, but it's really close to chipboard. And this one does seem to be a little bit higher, or I could just make it look as it is a little bit higher. So in that way, placing it on a photo mat or just a matted piece of paper, and putting it on a piece of paper that measures 4 by 6 inches, I could make this into a really clean and simple filler card for your Project Life or pocket page scrapbooking. I could of course die cut these several times, add them on top of each other, and in that way make a sort of a resin decoration. I could of course just glue it down as it is right now, and mostly I do use Tombo's mono multi-liquid glue. It does have a rather small tip, which I like, and then it has got a sort of a broad tip, but it doesn't really release that much more glue anyway, but you have something to spread the glue with, and that's a good thing with that glue, I think. So I was just thinking that if you were let's say I were to have this white piece. I would have a black piece of paper underneath it. It's the same size as the filler card there. And just by placing the die cut a little bit askew, I would create a shadow effect, and then I could put that one on the backing piece of paper. So in that way I could really make that die cut come to life in a different way. And I could also just use the negative now, couldn't I? And I could also go with this motion. I could have it on a black piece of paper and then glue it on down like so. I could also die cut it out of a card base. I could have it, let's say I were to have it open in the front and just glue another color of paper on the inside of the card. In that case I would be ending up with a really striking figure like this. And if the card were to be open like this, you could see a sort of a shadow effect peeping through in there. The struggle I find with this method is that I really don't know what to do with the inside, because if I'm going to do a bit of writing or something, it's going to be visible and then I'm going to lose the effect that I'm going to create with this method. So I'm thinking that I had better actually glue the other colored piece of paper on the front, and in that way also making sure that this is all going to stay down because I've glued it down or taped it down, and I won't be risking that this one is going to loosen anyway. So that's another way of using this. You could also use this one as a template. You could, if you wanted to, just put it on a piece of paper like so, loosely. You could go work with your distress ink perhaps, just be careful, and just drag it in like so. You could use it as a stencil like this, or you could just spray on it, and what you would end up with is a masked effect or a stenciled effect like this. It sort of looked like a stamp effect there. And talking about stamps, of course you could die cut this out of a funky foam piece perhaps, and then just glue that funky foam piece on your acrylic block with perhaps tack and peel, and then you could stamp with it. So it could be a nice idea to also make that one work. Let's see, what else could I tip you about? And well, you could also make it into a mask if you wanted to. If you're just going to put a little bit of adhesive here that you are going to be able to take away after after I have worked on it a bit. I'm not sure I'll be able to succeed with this now because I haven't really prepared for it that well, but let's see. Because in this case I would rather have some kind of a removable tape or something here before I started working on this. And in this case it's rather important that you get the color around the figure itself. But in this case you could actually use it as a mask and you could get the effect that I'm going for. Let's see what happens when I take off the glue. Ta-da! Here you go. And of course you have to take care of that glue dot there. Let's see if I can take care of it like that. But you see, there are two ways of using these, and it's a rather nice technique, I think. And what else could you do? Well, you could of course use it in your die cutting machine. You could have this die cut, or perhaps several die cuts that you have glued together, so they will create some sort of a resin effect. You put that on your piece of paper, and then you put another piece of paper that you want the embossing effect on. And then you're just going to run it through your die cutting machine, and you'll be ending up with a sort of relief or die cut dry embossed effect. So there are many ways to use these dies. So let me tell you a little bit about the other dies that I got. And before I do that, I'm just going to make a comment on how I made this work. I did get an alphabet set from Fawn, And this one is called, it doesn't say the name for it, I'm afraid. It's an alphabet die anyway. It's Cole's ABCs. It seems like Cole's ABCs. And instead of taking the letters apart, as I have done with this one, I kept them as they are. They are attached to each other with a tiny bit of a metal thread there. And before I did take those away on that parcel, I just decided I would try to see if I could make it work as a filler card for Project Life or Pocket Page scrapbooking. So I cut this a little bit smaller than 4 by 6, and I die cut it as it is, and then just made a backing piece for it, glued it down with my Tombow Mono multi-liquid glue, and I'm ready to set go. The benefit of actually separating your letters could be that if you were to want to make a card with a particular word that you have die cut, let's say love, then you could have your piece of paper and place the dies upside down and place them wherever you want to, and then just die cut it, and you will be ending up with the holes from those letters, and then you could make your card with them. So there are 2 ways of using these as well. But let's move on to more lawn fawn dies, because I couldn't help myself when I came to a store today. The first thing I saw were these. I do like numbers and letters, and the funkier the font, the better. So when it came to seeing this one paired up with a matching set of dies, I just had to go for it, because it's a really nice thing that you can do your stamping and then you can do a die cutting, and you get those really crisp images, and you can make those numbers or letters come to life. So that's what I got here, and these are called Quinn's 1, 2, 3s. And this one doesn't have a, well, it does actually have, here it says coordinate with Quinn's 1, 2, 3's stamp set. So that's the, then you know that these are a match. Then I got myself another set of dies which is called Finley's ABCs, and for this one there wasn't an alphabet left in the store, so I just had to get out without the alphabet font. And then I got myself another set. This one is called Quinn's ABCs. Alright, so these are actually a match. Ta-da! Wasn't that a nice idea? A nice surprise. And then I can die cut my letters. And what I think I'll be doing with this, because I do believe that I could make another filler card with this. I believe that the size could actually work. Let's see if I place it on top. Just and just, I'm thinking. It won't be as pretty as on this one, but it might work. And just to be on the safe side when it comes to keeping these in one place, I won't be taking them apart, because I'd rather have them sticking to one another, and then it's easier for me to just place one piece of a small scrap piece of paper and die cut it that way, and then I could stamp it afterwards if I wanted to. And then I got myself a final set of number dies. This one is called Louis 1, 2, 3s, and I suppose that if I see the alphabet set later, I could buy that one later. So this is the new dies and stamps for me from Lawn Fawn, as well as the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dies from Crafty and the Steampunk border die. My goodness, I could die for less. That's what I'm telling you. So I hope you are sort of inspired to start using your die cuts in a different way. Make it work, as Tim Gunn would say from Project Runway. I do like Tim Gunn, I must say. So I'm going to sign off right now, and I hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.